terror on a summer's night. It was when I was very young. One summer day, I was going to stay at my favorite grandma and grandpa's house. They were in the countryside, and it was around 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I arrived at their house. After arriving at their house, I ate a rice ball I bought at a convenience store, but I didn't have much of an appetite. I was looking forward to playing with my grandfather and his family, so I thought, I'll finish my meal early. After the meal was over, we played fishing and climbed trees. I remember I was having a great time until that time. When I tried to play in the back of the forest, my family. You must never go deep into the forest. I didn't really care at the time, but a little while later I started to notice it. Then I looked a little deeper into the forest. Then I saw something like a shrine in the distance. But I soon realized that the shrine was unusual, because the shrine was covered with many sacred cards. Although we were a short distance away, I vowed to myself, I will never go near this place. I swore firmly in my heart. So I tried to move away from the shrine. Then a cat came out of nowhere and started to threaten the shrine. Then the door of the shrine slowly squeaked open. When I noticed it, it was already running. I was scared. What should I do? Why? So many emotions flooded me all at once. I was just scared. I ran with all my heart. I looked back. A black woman was standing there with a terrible look on her face. But I was quite a distance away at that time. My house was close by. I thought, I can get away from her. But the next time I turned around, the woman was gone. I thought, she must have given up in the end. I thought so. But before I knew it, the woman was standing right in front of me. She's not human, I thought. When I saw a woman in front of me, I was so scared that I burst into tears. She was in front of me, and when her eyes met mine, she smiled at me. Then the cat came and mewed. Then the woman disappeared. Right in front of me. I was so crazy that I ran to my house. I got home. But I couldn't tell my family about it. I had gone to a place I had been told not to go near. Looking back, it was the worst choice I could have made. That night I suddenly felt stuck. It was as if something was holding me down with great force. I have a fusuma, sliding door, in my house, and I felt a bad presence behind the fusuma. I thought, that woman came here. Then the fusuma, sliding door, swung open. It was that woman. She came into the room with a very angry face. It was as if she was looking at the criminal who had trashed her house. I was scared. I was sleeping alone. The rest of the family was sleeping in the other room. No one is coming to help me, that woman is almost there, I'm going to die. The moment I heard a loud voice saying, Kenji, my name, are you okay? Grandpa came rushing in. The woman's angry face turned even angrier and she glared at me. The moment Grandpa entered the room where I was sleeping, the woman disappeared. He shook my shoulder. Hey Kenji, did you go near that shrine? He scolded me with a scary expression I had never seen before. I was already in a panic because my grandfather, who was always so kind to me, had shown a frightening face, and a woman had appeared. But I know one thing, I must have done something terrible because Grandpa has such a look on his face. When I noticed that I was shedding tears, Grandpa noticed that I was crying and stopped scolding me. Then, with a stiff face, he said, "Don't worry, Grandpa will take care of it." My anxiety eased a little. In fact, Grandpa's job was to be a temple priest. Grandpa rushed to wake up the family and shouted, "Kenji is possessed by a black woman," he shouted. Hearing these words, my family woke up in a panic and everyone was speechless. I quickly looked at my favorite brother's face. I remember that he was looking at me with eyes that were not the kind of eyes he would look at a human being. Grandpa quickly went back to his room and took out the money. He said, "Hey, here, hold this." He gave me the talisman and took me to his temple. He took me to his temple. I was in a panic and could not get out of the car when he told me to get out of the car at the temple. Then Grandpa forcefully took me out of the car and splashed cold water on me. "Don't worry, Grandpa will take care of it." Once inside the temple, he closed off the room, put salt in all four corners, and put many talismans on the door. Then he started chanting sutra. I closed my eyes and listened to the sutra normally for a few minutes, but after a little while I felt very nauseous and sick. Then, after a few 10 minutes of enduring nausea, the chanting finally stopped. I opened my eyes to see if it was over and heard a woman's voice laughing behind me. It was over. I thought so. I decided not to pay attention to the laughter earlier. A few days later, Grandpa died suddenly. At the end, he was in a lot of pain. Was it because of her? Was it because of that woman? After the funeral, I asked my grandma about the black woman my grandpa had mentioned. She told me that a certain disease had spread in this area in the past, and that in order to stop it, sacrifices had to be made. It was said that a sacrifice was necessary to stop the disease. Nowadays, with the development of medicine, such a thing is impossible, but it was common practice in the olden days. It is said that a woman was chosen as the sacrificial victim. The woman was burned to death while still alive. Then I grew up. Now I work for a company. And now I am writing this text. In my mind, I still want to think it was a dream, but I believe that something bad must have been really attached to my grandfather, because he died. A few days later, I had to make a PR video for a temple where my friend works for the company. I discussed this with my friend during a meeting. But when I first met my friend, he looked at my face and gave me a bad look. And he said something like this: "Who is that black woman behind you?" I broke out in cold sweat all over. I was scared. I asked him fearfully, "Hey, is that something that can be exorcised?" "Well, let's give it a try." My friend performed the exorcism. My friend died suddenly. I wonder if this woman can be exorcised anymore. This story is all true. This concludes this story. Thank you for listening to the end.